So Ron DeSantis is not just pulling Florida into a segregationist past, he is borrowing, sisters and brothers and family and friends, from the same playbook of segregationists throughout history, because this spirit is not new. Segregationist leaders in US history, let's put them up. Strom Thurmond, he was a US Senator of South Carolina from 1954 to 2003. George Wallace, the governor of Alabama. Y'all see all the dates there, starting in
2003. Because I know who he is. I know who he is. I didn't know he was in office for that long.
Oh, him and President Joseph R. Biden used to rock together.
Yeah, I knew that.
I got off track. Let me not get off track.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jack Gramillion, Attorney General of Louisiana from 1956 to 1972. This ain't ancient history. First of all, our country ain't old enough to have ancient history. Let me put that out there. That's the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth thing you need to know. And Ross Barnett, governor of Mississippi from 1960 to 1964. And these are just a few, because we could keep going. I mean, the list is long as hell, unfortunately. But let's revisit what some of these monsters had to say when they were in power. Let's go ahead and start off with Strom Thurmond. All the laws of Washington and all the bayonets of the army cannot force the Negro into our homes, into our schools, our churches, and our places of recreation and amusement. That was Strom Thurmond, US Senator of South Carolina, 1954 to 2003. Let's go and keep.
When he retired?
I think he was in his 90s, like 90, he was 90 something.
Sheesh.
Yeah, check me out. Somebody find that for look that up for us, and we can tell you right now in real time, because Sachi can put it on his board. Let's go to George Wallace. In the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this earth, I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny. And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. That's governor of Alabama, George Wallace, starting in 1963 and taking it all the way to 1987. Y'all hear me about that? That ain't ancient history. That's recent history. That is the kind of governor that DeSantis is. He's dangerous. Let's just go ahead and go on to Ross Barnett. There is no case in history where the Caucasian race has survived social integration. We will not drink from the cup of genocide. Okay,
that's just wrong.
I mean, this is all about white.
It's just not true either. Like Rome was very multicultural. Like what?
It's not true. But this is what DeSantis is stoking this. And DeSantis is taking a page straight out of the playbook of these folks and bringing their ideology to the 21st century. He just cloaking it a little differently, but it's the same. It's the same. DeSantis is more dangerous, again, than Donald J. Trump, because he is in charge right now. He's using his power right now to do these things. And Trump can promise he's gonna do these things. There's no guarantee, God forbid, that Trump was gonna get back in power at all. But Ron DeSantis is in power right now, Florida. Right now, America, and he's giving us a preview of the kind of man he is and how he is inebriated with power and how he will use power to kill and to steal and to destroy. We got to call it what it is. Now, here's some footage. This is what DeSantis ranting is reminding me of. I want to take a look at this footage, and it's people like him while they queuing up the footage. That right there. It's people like him and Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who have proven that we are not that far removed from the segregationist era. In many ways, we are living it. I want you to take a good look at this. And for those of you who are listening and are not looking, we are playing historic footage from the 60s with civil rights march in the street, and how you got people who work for government, i.e. police officers, firefighters, and other officials using dogs on innocent black people who are just sitting up there marching for freedom and justice and liberation. We are showing water hoses. Those water hoses are not being picked up by just any old regular white citizen. The firefighters got those hoses. The police officers are sicking those dogs that black people's taxes were paying for. This right here, America, is what DeSantis is trying to take us back to with his rhetoric. So if it's painful for you to watch, if you are offended by this, you should be offended by this. What are you gonna do about it? So that we don't go back to this time. Jackson, your final thoughts on this. Well, we're gonna talk about Tommy Tuberville, but this is right here. This is what DeSantis. This is the kind of America, as you said. The further we go back, we can go back even further. This is the kind of America that this man is trying to bring back in the 21st century.
And I mean, like, how can you erase this? And two, like, if you look at footage like this, what can you really say? You know what I mean? Because at the time, the conservatives of the time were just against plain and simply integration. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to integrate schools. They didn't want to integrate the workplace, and it really wasn't any more complicated than that. And they thought that they thought people who wanted integration were doing too much, were asking for too much. But I'm still mind blown about that. I did not know that Strom Thurmond was in. That man was in office from the time my father was 3 years old until I was in the 5th grade. My dad was born in 1951. That's why I was taken, because I know who he is. I was like, what?
My dad too.
Yeah, that's very American.
Did you find out how old he was when he left the Senate, the U.S.?
He had to have been 90 something.
He
but
was
no,
90 something.
That's very American. That's
I want to
very
give
American.
people the right answer. And then look at this. This right here. This is Tommy Tuberville just last week. Let's take a look at this.
We are losing in the military so fast, our readiness in terms of recruitment. And why? I can tell you why. Because the Democrats are attacking our military, saying we need to get out the white extremists, the white nationalists, people that don't believe in our agenda as his Joe Biden agenda. They're destroying it.
You mentioned the Biden administration trying to prevent white nationalists from being in the military. Do you believe they should allow white nationalists in the military?
Well, they call them that. I call them Americans.
They call them that, but we call them America. I mean, what else we need to say on this, Jackson? Yeah. What else needs to be said?
He spoke for himself. He spoke for himself. And it's also hilarious too about like whether it be the military or just like corporations. You might want to offer more if you're having a problem or a shortage. But also too, I mean, America's not under any type of huge threat. This isn't like World War II time, so people aren't like, oh boy, I want to go die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that complicated. But as you said, there's really nothing else to add. He spoke for himself. They're Americans, and we need him in the ranks.